everyone. In the previous session, we had discussed about concurrency and deadlock. In today's session, we will be discussing about memory management. Memory management is one of the most essential functionalities of the operating system. It completely deals with all types of memories like RAM, ROM, main memory, disk and so on. Now let us see some of the functionalities of memory management. The first and foremost functionality of memory management is that it completely manages the primary memory. It is also responsible for moving the processes from the main memory to the disk and vice versa in case of execution of a process. Now let us see some of the other functionalities of memory management. The next functionality of memory management is that it is responsible for all the memory locations in the system, whether it is free or being executed. So in this case, it is also responsible for deciding how much memory has to be given for which process based on their execution, and then when this memory has to be allocated is also decided by it. And finally, whenever a memory is freed, that particular status is also updated by memory management. Now let us discuss about process address space. Process address space is a set of logical addresses that a program references in its code. There are three types of addresses that a program uses before and after its memory allocation. The first type is symbolic addresses. It is present in the source code. Usually variable names, constant names and labels of the instructions come under symbolic addresses. The second one is relative address. Usually whenever the compilation takes place, the compiler converts the symbolic address to the relative address. And thirdly, the physical address. Whenever the loader loads the program into the main memory, at this time the relative address is converted into the symbolic address and correspondingly it is used. Now let us discuss and distinguish between static and dynamic loading. The choice between static and dynamic loading has to be done in the beginning while developing the computer program itself. Let us see what is static loading. In case of a program being loaded statically, the compiler will compile and link the object program in such a way that there won't be any external dependency. In this case, the linker will link the whole object program along with the whatever external objects and programs is required to form a single or absolute program along with the logical addresses. In this case, while execution takes place, it won't depend on any external programs. Let us discuss about dynamic loading. When you are writing a program in a dynamically loading fashion, in this case, the compiler will compile only the program. All other modules and libraries which are given dynamically, only the references will be given. The main work will be taken place only during execution. While using dynamic loading, the dynamically loading routines of the libraries are present in the disk. Whenever we need that particular program or module, in that case, they will be transferred from the disk to the main memory and used accordingly. Let us discuss about static and dynamic linking. In case of static linking, the linker will link all the object modules and programs needed for that particular program to become one absolute program. As a result, no runtime dependency is present. Next is dynamic linking. In case of dynamic linking, there won't be any linking with external object modules or library files. In this case, all will be given as a reference and the final work will be performed only during execution. So let us see about swapping. So what exactly is swapping? Swapping is transferring one object from one place to another. So in this case, what happens is, it is a mechanism one process is there in the main memory and at one particular time it is transferred from the main memory to the secondary memory and that particular memory is being free. So some other process can be allocated for that memory and it can perform its execution, and after certain time this process is transferred back from the secondary memory to the main memory. This is called as swapping. Swapping is also very good for memory compaction as it will help multiple and big processes to run parallelly in execution. Now let us see an example of swapping. In this case, there are certain processes P1 and P2 are present in the main memory and P3 to Pn are present in the secondary memory. In this case, P1 and P2 are performing their execution. In certain time, P2 requires an IO. So it is swapped out to the secondary memory and P3 is in turn swapped in to the main memory. After certain time, when P2 gets its IO, then it is swapped in back to the main memory and then P3 is swapped back to the secondary memory. This is called as swapping. The total time taken for swapping of a process can be calculated as the time required for the process to be swapped from the main memory to the secondary memory and then back from the secondary memory to the main memory, as well as the overhead required for the process to regain in the main memory. So in such cases, let us take an example of a process of the size 2048 KB. In this case, let us assume that the process is present in an average hard disk with a rate of around 1 MB per second. So here it will take around 2 seconds for the process to be transferred from the main memory to the secondary memory, and again 2 seconds for the same process to be transferred back from the secondary memory to the main memory, and then there is an overhead for regaining of main memory. So as a result, the transfer time will be around 4 seconds or more in case of this process. Let us discuss about memory allocation. Memory can be partitioned into two parts: the lower memory, which contains the operating system, and the higher memory, which contains various user processes. So let us see how we can allocate the memory based on the partitioning. There are two types of memory allocation available. The first one is single partition allocation. In this case, the relocation register scheme is being used, and as a result, the minimum or the basic physical location or address of that particular memory is given to the relocation register. Now let us discuss about fragmentation. The processes are loaded and removed back from the memory. In such cases, the memory space is divided into smaller pieces. The pieces are so small that at some situation it happens that no process can be loaded in that memory and that memory is wasted. This problem is called as fragmentation. Fragmentation can be of two types. The first one is internal fragmentation, in which the wastage happens inside the memory blocks, and the second type is external fragmentation, in which the wastage of memory happens in between the memory blocks. Fragmentation causes lots of memory wastage. As a result, we will be using compaction in order to solve this problem. In case of external fragmentation, what we do is we combine all the free spaces. In this case, all the free memory space are combined together to form a single block. This is used for memory allocation. In this case, this process has to be dynamic in order to make compaction work. In case of internal fragmentation, the block size has to be kept small. It is kept such small that only one process can be allocated at a time. As a result, no memory wastage occurs. This is how we can solve fragmentation. Now let us discuss about another memory management technique, which is paging. Computer can address more memory than which is actually present in the memory. This is called as virtual memory. Paging is a memory management technique in which the process address space is divided into various blocks of equal size. This is called as pages. The size of each page can be from 512 bytes to around 8192 bytes. The process can be addressed in terms of number of pages. In case of a main memory, it is divided into blocks of equal sizes called as frames. The size of frame is kept equal to the size of pages. It is done in order to improve memory utilization as well as to avoid external fragmentation. The given diagram shows how paging takes place. In this case, the process is divided into blocks of equal size called as pages, and then the pages are mapped to the main memory. Now let us see some of the advantages as well as disadvantages of paging. Though paging will be avoiding external fragmentation, internal fragmentation cannot be avoided as far as paging is concerned. Paging is considered as one of the most simple as well as efficient memory management technique. The sizes of pages as well as frames are same. As a result, swapping becomes very easy. The page table will require some extra memory. As a result, for systems which having small RAM, it is not such a good idea. Now let us see another concept which is quite similar to paging, which is called as segmentation. Segmentation is a memory management technique in which one job is divided into various blocks of different sizes. These blocks are called as segmentation. In such cases, each module contains pieces of similar function. Each segment contains logical address space of the program. In this case, segmentation is quite related to paging, apart from the fact that in case of paging, each blocks or pages are of same sizes, while in case of segmentation, each blocks or segments are of variable sizes. The operating system contains a page map table which contains for each process, and it has memory locations which are free as well as the segment numbers, the size of the segment as well as its location in the main memory. In this case, the table for each segment will have the first address of the segment as well as its corresponding size. The reference to the main memory location will have identification value to the segment as well as an offset value. Here we can see the diagram in which a process is divided into various segments, and these segments are mapped using the segment map table to the main memory. Thus we have come to the end of the session. In this session we have seen about memory management techniques. Hope you all understood about it. In the coming session we will be discussing about various scheduling algorithms. Thank you.